Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to discuss my relationship or lack thereof with my sisters. I have two blood sisters. I think this video I will talk about my older sister because when it comes to my little sister, there is a lot to talk about. Like, it ties in with previous videos. There's a lot. And it's going to get deep, really deep when it comes to her because there's going to be a lot of revealing detail and pretty much exposure because I'm tired of her shit. I'm tired of her slandering me on social media, and I'm tired of her having people threaten my life for no reason because she's a pathological liar and so on and so forth. So I have an older sister by the name of Kathleen, and she's 4 years older than me. And I miss her so much. Like, it's crazy. We don't speak, and we haven't spoke since my dad passed away. My dad passed away about 8 years ago, 8.5 years ago. And that was a real eye opener for me when my dad passed away. I guess I can make a video about losing a parent. You know, that would be a good topic to talk about because I know of a lot of people who recently lost a parent, and it's tough. Like, it's not anything I would wish upon anybody. Like, it's such a gut-wrenching feeling. So I haven't spoken to her since I lost my dad, and so basically our relationship consists of, we didn't really grow up together. So the first 2 years of my life we did because my parents were married and my mom had custody of my older sister. And at least that's what I think. There's pictures and I haven't been told anything otherwise. So I think that's what had happened. And so, of course, when my parents split, my mom, she took my older sister and my dad took me. I have been told my entire life my dad wasn't going to let anybody take me away from him because he loved me so much and cared about me so much that he couldn't bear the thought of not having me around, which is so sweet because he was such a good man to me. Like, he was a father I wish anybody could have had because he was kick-ass. I wish he didn't have to work as much, but when you have a stepmom who doesn't work, somebody's got to be the breadwinner. But anyway, so I didn't really see my sister. I didn't really grow up with my sister, so we didn't really have that sisterly bond, which kind of sucks. Like, I would have loved to have had an older sister, and especially her because I've always thought that she was cool. From her style in clothing, her taste in music, her can-do attitude, her drive. She's amazing. Like, she can do really good things. Except I don't think she knows or wants to be a sister towards me. I don't know. So when I was a teenager, that's kind of what I understood. Like, I was just an annoyance. I just remember one fight in particular at my Uncle Rodney's house, and I can't remember what had happened. I just remembered my best friend was there, and we started hanging out at my Uncle Rodney's house because people from that side of my family started making their presence known, and that's how I found out my Uncle Rodney lived in the same city as I lived in, and I thought that was amazing. It was somebody who was it was my mom's brother, and it was my family and somebody that I could get to know, and I was really excited about that at that time. But for some reason, me and my older sister got into a fight, and I just remember, I don't know if I like pushed her and ran away. I don't know. I did something immature, and at that time she was like super cool and like goes to clubs, and she was going to a club with our cousin Jeremy, and Jeremy wasn't really our blood cousin. He wasn't our blood. He was my uncle's stepson. He wasn't our blood cousin, but because there was marriage, it was like cousin. But me and my best friend thought he was really cute, and we thought his it's so weird to say. We thought his friend was really cute too. But either way, I did something immature. I like shoved her, pinched her. I did something weird, and I ran away. And she came up behind me, pulled me by my hair, and dragged me down the stairs. I don't remember what happened after that, but I was just like, fuck, like, was that really warranted? Like, you hated me that much? Like, you had to pull me by my hair down the stairs, but all in sisterly love, right? Like, looking back now, it's fucking hilarious to me. But that's the second fight that I can remember that we have had. Like I said in a prior video how like one of the first memories that I have as a child, which had to have been at like the age of 2 or something, was her pouring Kool-Aid on me at our lemonade Kool-Aid stand, whatever it was, and me running inside and my parents were in a fight and so on and so forth. And that's in another video if you're curious. But and I think it's like in the very first video. But either way, that's there, and that was like the second fight, and it's pretty funny to me. So either way, as I got older, I think that was junior high, because yeah, I didn't have braces and I had some messed up teeth. Oh my god, like my teeth are bad. Anyway, so in high school, we actually started to get to know each other. Like we were writing letters and stuff like that, and she would share things with me like rave flyers and music, and like when I went to go and visit when I was 14 for a month, I went to stay with my mom. I actually got to stay in my older sister's old room because she wasn't there. I don't know where she was, but so being that we're 4 years apart, I was just starting freshman year almost because it was summertime, and she graduated senior. So I don't know where she was. She could have been in California. I don't know where she was. She wasn't living at home because I was in her room. And so I got a lot of hand-me-down clothes. I got to really kind of like live in her life for a moment because there was a lot of her things there. And like, I just found it really interesting because I felt like I got to get to know her without her being there. And I just got to like look at her stuff and like her handwriting and her music and her clothes, and like, I don't know, it's just, I was staying in her bedroom, that's like your sanctuary, and it wasn't that I was like digging through her shit. Like mom had stuff like packed up ready to move out of the room and stuff like that, and I guess there was boxes of things that she agreed that she didn't want, so she was like, well, this is Kathleen's stuff, she agreed she didn't want it, do you want some of this stuff, so whatever, blah blah blah. So it was really cool. I was like, oh, I got my older sister's hand-me-downs, like, oh, this is really cool. And I really wish that I got to grow up with her, because for all the hard times I was going through, it would have been really cool to have an older sister. But I had to be the older sister to my little sister, and I'll get into that later. So anyway, there came that. She took me to my first rave at about 16 years old. I had to lie to kick it because I lived a sheltered life due to my awesome stepmonster. Said with sarcasm, of course. And so I was staying at my grandma's across the street. My mom's mom actually lived across the street from us. And she actually moved over there and got a job so they could be closer to me and try to get to know me and so on and so forth. And so I would go over there often. And so I said that I was staying the night there. And technically I was, but we just went out in the middle of the night. So we went out to a rave. Oakland's home base, and man, that first rave just I got the craving. Like, it was so fun. Like, and it wasn't about like we didn't do drugs or drink or nothing like that. Like, my sister wasn't into shit like that. That was like a huge no-no, and she was like completely protective older sister, as should be, as per tradition. And So we went to the rave, and I felt weird because, I didn't really know my sister, and I was in an awkward stage in high school when Jenko jeans were in and wearing like big baggy clothes and like skateboarding and the chain wallet and just, it was the 90s. And so here I am, like still getting to know and be used to being around my sister. And now I'm at a rave and you're supposed to dance at a rave, and like I'm trying to feel myself and trying to find my groove. And she's over here trying to get me to dance, and she's already been doing this and like in her own thing. And I'm just like, wow, my sister can dance too. Like, oh, I got so much to live up to. Like, she's awesome. And so there's that. And so I was hooked. First rave, I was hooked. And I was trying to go to a rave every weekend since then. And I became a promoter for raves. I was a promoter for Feel Good Entertainment, which if you picked up the flyers and passed out the flyers, you got into a rave for free. You just got to figure out how to get there and back. And like, I was hooked. And so I got some of my friends involved, and eventually we had like a crew and we'd go to raves, and yeah, it was fun. It was so much fun. Like, God, it was such a great experience. Like, I felt like I could be me. Like, there was no judgment there, and you meet so many amazing people there, and different characters of people, and yeah, people are on drugs, and yeah, people are drinking, but, and I don't care if it was the drugs or not, people were so fucking nice. Like, yeah, it may have been the ecstasy. I don't give a shit. But people were so nice and so willing to welcome you into their world and hang out with you and dance with you and take pictures with you and laugh with you and smile with you. And like, who gives a shit if it was the drugs? It felt great. Like, my rave days were so amazing, except for one experience. Oh my God, one experience. Stacy, if you're watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I almost died. We almost died. Like, we went to, I know I'm steering off the topic of my sister, but it has to do with her because she got me started going to raves. So I got into raves. I think I was about 17, 18 years old at this point. I think it was about 18. And we go to a rave. We go to a rave in a part of Oakland we probably never should have been in, should never ever go in our lives. I can't even remember where it was, but we shouldn't have been there. They had a rave at such a small venue. Like, I don't know what they were thinking, but it was completely overcapacitated. Like, it was sardines. It was like beyond sardines. It was like the sardine can it was busting at the seams. Like, it was so fucking packed. And I was 18, and at that time I dabbled in drugs. I tried acid, I tried ecstasy. I was smoking weed. I started smoking weed at like 15, 16 years old. That's whatever. So I was on ecstasy, and I needed to get out of there. Me and Stacy, we needed to get out of there. It was fucking packed. So we get out of there and we go back to the car. Mind you, the car was literally like, if we were parked facing the street instead of with our backs to the street, you would be able to see, like, say, like if we were parked facing the street, we would be able to see the venue like off in the distance, like maybe a block away, like a short block, like not even that far. So we weren't that far from the venue. So it's me, Stacy, and our friend Andy, and we're chilling in the car because it was just claustrophobic. And luckily, everything was in the trunk. Like, we took everything and put it in the trunk. We didn't want to bring anything inside. We knew we were going to dance. We didn't want to lose anything. So we just got into the car, and we were just chilling. We almost died because two men tried to rob us at gunpoint. And this was, yeah, so we were about 18 because my Uncle Rodney passed away when I was about 17. And I honestly feel that he saved our lives that night. Like it was such a crazy experience. Okay, so Stacy's in the driver's seat. I'm in the passenger seat. Andy is in the back passenger seat behind the driver's seat. The gunman comes up to the driver's seat, and mind you, we only had the windows like literally cracked because for one, it was cold, but we were trying to get some sort of air, but not freeze our asses off. And we were waiting for other people to come back to the car. Andy's woman and our friend Aaron. And so the gunman comes up to the driver's side where Stacy's at and tries to stick a gun in the window. And I think it was a Mac 10. Like, I don't really know much about guns because I'm a knife person. I think it was like a Mac 10. I don't know, the long one, the long black one with like the skinny tip. But either way, shoves that inside the window, and I guess it hit her head. Like, he was able to get it in, and it hit her in the head. And like, you know, give me all you got, blah, 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 like finger on the trigger type shit, like yelling at us, wanted everything, was kind of moving it back and forth, like throughout the window, like trying to point it at me, her, and Andy in the back seat. And being that I'm in the front passenger, I see that there's a lookout, and I'm like, this is fucking serious. Like, the guy was just nonchalantly like, just like, I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna fucking die. And I just remember sitting there. I was wearing Andy's black puffy jacket because it was freezing. And I just remember sitting there, and I felt like I was sitting there in the shadows. I almost felt invisible for a second. And I just kept praying. And I was like, Uncle Rodney, please don't let them kill us. Please, like, get us out of this. Please, like, please stop them. Like, I just kept praying, and I was just like, Uncle Rodney, I know you're there. I know you're there. Like, just don't let nothing happen to us, right? And so the gunman went to pull the trigger, and bullets started ejecting out of the top. I just remember seeing, like, a butterfly of bullets, like, up the top, on the top of the gun. Not out the fucking chamber, up the top of the gun, and him just going like, oh, fuck, and just running. And we're all just sitting there like, did that just really happen? And I just looked at everybody, and I was like, the lookout left, get the fuck out of the car. And they're like, what? And I was like, get the fuck out of the car and run. So we got out of the car. I don't even remember shutting the doors. I just remember fleeing the car and running towards the venue. I remember running so fucking fast that I don't remember hitting the ground. I don't remember my feet touching the ground. It felt like I was flying. I was running so fucking fast. And I looked back one time to see that my friends were trailing behind me. And I'm like, let's fucking go. Like, come on. We're running towards the venue. There's cops out front. Let's fucking go. So we're fucking running. They're catching up like, wait. And I'm like, no, we're not waiting for anybody. Let's go. Like, fucking run. Find it in your fight or flight and run. Like, let's go. We'd run past a couple who was just like, a white couple just nonchalantly just walking. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. We just got robbed. Get the fuck out of here. They thought we were joking. So we run over to the venue. The cops thought we were trying to bum rush the venue. And we just stopped as soon as, like, we fell into their arms pretty much as soon as we saw them. We couldn't breathe because we were hyperventilating. We pretty much sobered up off the ecstasy. Our eyes were probably just like fucked. Like, they knew we were on drugs, but couldn't talk because we were hyperventilating. They had us like lean up against the wall and like try to breathe and open our airways because we were hyperventilating. Like, we weren't being pat down or anything like that. The only thing that I can get out was gun, just got robbed. They ran that way, and cops just fucking took off. And so then they, you know, over time they just started getting our information, and then people started trickling out of the club because it was really packed and they were shutting it down. And then our friends saw us and asked what was going on. And then as soon as we saw our friends, we all just lost it. Like, we just cried. We all just fucking lost it. And then, like, you know, after the report and everything was all fucking done, we went home. And we went to the car, and I didn't even want to look around. I just wanted to get in the car and like go home. But me today wishes I kind of like look around just a little bit to see if there was like any shells or anything like that left behind. Anything. I don't know why. Some sort of evidence. I don't know. Proof. I don't know. Something to be like, okay, don't ever fucking do that again. Like, lesson learned. You don't ever go to places that you don't know shit about, like, and don't ever just go chill in a fucking car somewhere in a place you don't know shit about. So anyway, that happened. But I loved raving and I did it still. After that, I was way more cautious. And so, I could thank my sister for getting me started into something that I absolutely loved. And I wish I did more of it with her. But so over the years, I'm going to go back to talking to her since I strayed off and I'm already on 20 minutes on this video. So, over the years, we're still in communication. In my 20s, there was a point in my life where her and I were actually hanging out. She lived in San Francisco, and we made it a plan to meet up every Sunday and skateboard the city. Like, I love those days. I love those days so much because it was my escape from my abusive relationship at the time, and I didn't know how to tell her I was in an abusive relationship. Because at the time it was the only thing I felt that I had, and that if I left that I didn't have anything, because that's what was pretty much instilled into my brain if I were to leave. And that's pretty much how much that person made me feel so low about myself that I felt like I didn't have anybody but them. And that person got very jealous if my time wasn't spent with them and was spent with other people. And so therefore I shut out a lot of friends, and I even gave my sister a lot of excuses and shut her out quite a few times. And when I hung out with her, I would drink, and there was one time, I'm so embarrassed by this, to this day, I drank so hard that I had such a bad hangover that it pretty much ruined my stay with her in the city. And I think I did that once or twice. I know one time my best friend was with us, but either way, I was escaping the hurt and trying to figure out who I was and try to be the cool little sister and hang out with her and hide the abuse, not knowing that I could have told her and she would have understood or been there for me, because I felt alone. Like, when you're being abused by somebody, especially somebody who you think loves you, who you're in a relationship with, who you think you're going to be with for the rest of your life, it really fucks you up. That person would call me stupid, dumb, I'm a bitch, I'm an idiot, all the while they're collecting phone numbers and talking to people behind my back and collecting phone numbers of chicks that would go to their job. And he took his best friend to Vegas instead of me, and a whole bunch of weird shit. Like, it was really bad, and I'll talk about bad relationships later. So yeah, it kind of ruined our Sundays and my relationship with her at the time, and I feel really bad about that because I had so much fun. So if you're watching right now, Kat, I had the time of my life skating with you in the city, skating from one end of Golden Gate Park to the beginning of it. I can't talk right now. We skated from the beginning of Golden Gate Park to the end where the water is. And I don't know how many miles that was, but we did it. And that was hella fun. I still have the picture of us hanging out on the wall with our skateboards. And I still have my skateboard to this day. I fucking miss you. There's one time in particular I remember. We couldn't skate the steep hills. Like, we couldn't even do tricks on the skateboard, okay? So we couldn't skate the steep hills. And so we would sit on our skateboard and fly down the hill. And people had to get out of the way. And here's two sisters flying down the hill on their skateboards, like laughing their asses off, screaming and telling people to get out. Like, people are jumping out of the way, looking at us like, you bitches. But it was so much fun. It was so much fun. Like, I'll never forget it. And then there was another time in the city, like we went all over the place in the city. Like I loved it. I loved it. Like she exposed me to another life. Um, I absolutely loved it. It was like I forgot about everything else that had troubled me, and I should have stayed. I should have taken up her offer to stay, and I should have left that idiot. And like, anyways, you can't regret shit. Anyways, so there was another time that we skated in the city, like in some weird industrial part. Like I don't know where the hell we were. I could probably find it on a map, but we stumbled upon some warehouse where there was like other skateboarders, and she wanted to go over there, and I was just like, ooh, I don't know about this. Like, this is like really scary. Like, I don't know. And she's like, no, fuck this. Like, we're going to go over there. We're going to make friends. Like, we're cool. Chicks who skateboard. Guys dig it. Like, let's do it. Right. So I was like, okay, fine. So we go over there. We made friends because she's awesome. And I was learning how to be awesome, and these people were awesome. And so there was people skating, there was a barbecue, there was music. Like, it was like a really fucking cool warehouse kick it spot for skaters. Like, I don't know how long we stayed, but we hung out for a while, and it was like super uber dope. Like, I think we had to leave because we had a long way to skate and we needed to like get back to her house. But we did that. We would go to thrift stores in the Tenderloin. I have a sweater that I got at one thrift store. I still have it to this day. It's one of my favorite sweaters, but we got it at a thrift store, and I actually needed that sweater that night because I wasn't prepared. But yeah, and I remember her taking me to, I don't know if it was a salsa club, but it was some sort of like a day club, but people were like having fun outside, and I met some of her friends, and like we were hanging out, and I mean, she would just take me all over the place, and I miss that. Like, I miss it a lot. And so here's where I ruined it. I would say this is probably the only time that I've ever really gotten jealous in my life. My older sister also has two little sisters who live in the valley. Or we call it the valley, but they live out in Tracy, or they used to. So my older sister lives in San Francisco. I lived in like Hayward at the time. This is around the time of before my dad's passing. My dad passed away 8 years ago, 2011. So this is around 2011. He passed away July 1st, 2011. So this is before he passed away. Actually, it's around the time he passed away. Okay, so my sister lived in the city, San Francisco. I lived in Hayward. Her sisters live in Tracy. My dad dies. I wanted to commit suicide that day. Like, I'm not even joking you right now. I'm going to be quite frank. I wanted to die that day. My dad died. I felt like my world died. It's not always easy to talk about. Third story building of Kaiser Hayward is where he was at because he got sick. He got sick so fast. He died in a matter of 5 days of being admitted into the hospital, and I'll get into all of that later. But either way, he died. I was on the third story. I heard the call over the loudspeaker, and I knew he was gone. I felt so empty, like nothing. This is no offense to get anybody, because at the time I just started dating my husband. Nothing mattered at that moment. I was just completely hollow. And I went outside, and I almost jumped. Somebody had come outside and interrupted me, and I pulled myself back down. And a little voice said, "No, Kristy, you can't do this. You have to be strong for everybody else, because who else will be?" And so I went back in. I laid my head on my dad's chest like I used to do every time I gave him a hug, and I said my goodbyes. Where does my sister tie in with this? My older sister. I had told her my dad died. As soon as it happened, I said, my dad's gone. Like, my dad died. Like, I need you. My dad died. Her response was, oh, I'm so sorry. Heart breaking. Heart just. And I was like, okay. And then I found out that a couple of days or a week, or I can't remember, it was really close. I found out that she had made plans with her younger sisters. Not a problem. But she completely bypassed me driving to go see them. Like, you would think that she would want to just stop by and see if I needed a hug or anything. Anything. And she didn't. Nothing. There was just nothing. Like, it was nothing, and it just hurt me so bad. And at that time, I was still drinking. I was still drinking, still going to the bars. My husband and I, we would frequent the local bars here just, because we were within walking distance, and, we knew the owners and the workers of one of the bars down here, and our friends worked at, another one too. So we had two bars to bounce back and forth to. So either way, I got really drunk one night. And so this is another reason why I don't drink anymore, because I am too fucking real, too 100%, too truthful when I drink, and I have absolutely no regard for anybody's feelings. And that's not okay. And so I pretty much, I don't drink. I know my levels. I know that usually one drink is enough, especially if it's hard alcohol. So either way, got really drunk one night, and I told my sister who she was, at least who I thought she was to me, and what I thought about her. And it was a drunk text that should have never happened. I did not say any nice things. I wish I could take it back. I wish there was a time machine, but you live and learn. And ever since then, I have been pleading with her in any way that I can to just give me a chance to just make it right somehow. To just at least clear the slate. You don't have to hang out with me anymore. You don't have to ever see me again if you don't want to. Which would suck. But I just want you to know how apologetic I am. That's not who I am. It's not the type of person that I am. I don't even like that person. It's so embarrassing. Like, I refrain from having more than one or two drinks because I don't like the person who I am, and I don't ever want to bring back that version of myself, because I don't like how it affected people, and I don't like how it affected me. And I lost a lot of good relationships, and Kathleen was one of them. And what's crazy is I progress in life because I'm constantly trying to be a better version of myself every day and learn from everything in my life. As I get better at being me, and I could see her from a distance because of either mutual friends, or I could peek in her Instagram every now and then. We're so much alike in many ways. Like, and I wish I could share that. Like, I wish I could show her who I am now and be the sister that she probably wishes that I could have been, and that who I wish I could have been when we were hanging out. The person who I am now is free, and free from excuse, and free from abuse, and free from trying to be something in order to please others. And I'm just way more genuine and just different and better, I guess, in the sense that I know who the fuck I am, and I'm not a mean, negative person that I used to be. And at least I'm trying not to be negative in any way, shape, or form, because I don't want it to come back tenfold in any way, shape, or form in my life. I just hope one day I am given the chance to be her sister, to move forward, to hash it out, and just both like own up to our own shit and hug each other and just move on. Like, I miss you so much. And you have no idea, Kathleen. You have no idea how bad it hurt when I heard that you said that I was trying too hard to reach you. And me trying to reach out to you once a year is not trying too hard. In fact, I think it's not enough, but I've been trying to not crowd you or bother you or make you mad, and I'm just still over here walking on eggshells, whereas everybody else is like, just show up, just go see her, just do, just go, just set up a surprise her. And I don't want to do that because I don't want to make you upset. But then when else is it gonna happen? Never. Like, it's been almost a decade since we last spoke positively, since we last had a relationship. 10 years. And I understand if you're mad at me because of words that I said a long time ago. 8 years ago was a long time. That's not who I am. And if I could take back each and every one of those words in that moment, I would. Because I don't want to hurt you. I wouldn't want to be talked to like that. I wouldn't want to be affected like that. And you didn't deserve that. I could have just been like, hey man, can we make plans? Like, I want to see you, like, my communication skills completely sucked at that point in my life. I was drinking. I was doing stupid shit. Like, I can't say I was an alcoholic or a drunk, but I loved the taste of that shit. And I loved how it took me away from everything. And I have to be honest, I love how it made me not give a shit about other people's feelings. And the reason why is because for so long, I feel that nobody gives a shit about my feelings. Because if they did, I think I would be given a chance more often than none. But with that being said, if you ever come across this video, if you are watching, I love you, Kathleen. I miss you. Just hash it out. I'm sorry. And I wish you weren't so harsh in how you feel about me, because it's really hurtful. And I hope that you could just swallow your pride a little bit and just work it out, honestly, because life is too short. And if you're living on a path of positivity, as I am trying to live a path of positivity, then you should want to clean the slate regarding this, because regardless if you think you're not holding on to any grudges or whatnot, you technically are. And it's just time to just talk. But I miss you and I love you, and I'll continue to watch you from afar and root you on, and I hope you get everything that you want in life. Okay, everybody.